Hello, my friends. My name is Adam. Welcome to my channel. I'm attempting to be the most prolific reviewer of all time, which means I review books, plays, movies, and whatever I want, basically. And I've been on a bit of a Bette Davis run recently because I watched her in All About Eve, and then I went down a bit of a rabbit hole about the different feuds and things that she had during her career. So yesterday I watched of Human Bondage, which is a film from 1934, and it is directed by John Cromwell and stars, apart from Bette Davis, Leslie Howard, and it's based on a novel by W. Somerset Maugham. I don't know how to pronounce that name. Mon? I don't know. So maybe a little bit about the plot. So Leslie's character is Philip Carey, and he starts the film as being an art student in Paris, and he is spending a lot of money and he feels like he's not making any progress, so he asks somebody, what do you think? Do you think I have talent? And his teacher is basically like, no, you don't have talent. Your name doesn't belong on this painting. Go find something that you're actually good at. But he has a club foot, so his options are kind of limited. So he goes back to London and he starts to study medicine because his family always wanted him to be a doctor. And he there are some kind of unpleasant situations that he has in medical school. One is a boy comes in with a club foot, and the supervising doctor decides that what was the guy's name? I keep forgetting the basic character. Philip's clubfoot is much more interesting than this boy's. So supervising doctor is like, okay, take off your socks, and like it's really degrading because he's saying things. Oh yes, look how clean he keeps the feet, and it's like, oh, this is a very interesting example, and you can just see how humiliated he is, and Howard is able to kind of convey this emotion in a very British way. And he says something like, if that's enough, doctor. And he's like, yes, this is enough. And if you push me past this, I might do something that, no, he's not going to do anything, but it conveys a lot of emotion. And around this time, his friend and him go to this tea place or cafe or something, and they meet Mildred Rogers, which is Bette Davis's character, and she's supposed to be this Cockney woman, and she was quite proud of their Cockney accent, and people liked it when it came out. But Leslie Howard, when he first heard it, he was like, "Why didn't we get a British actress to do this?" Which probably offended Bette Davis a little bit because she was trying. And well, I'll talk more about the performances maybe after the plot. So anyway, he meets this waitress, and she is very indifferent to him, but he kind of falls madly in love with her, and they develop this relationship, which is basically her nagging him all the time, because very quickly she meets this she figures out that he has this club foot. And there's, again, I'm not going to talk about the performances until I talk about the plot, because I have so much to say about the performances. So he, as I said, he's obsessed with her, and this obsession kind of makes it really hard for him to succeed in medical school. And she runs off with this one guy, and she says that she's getting married to him. It doesn't seem like she does actually get married to him, but they have a baby out of wedlock. And So Philip at this time has another relationship with this woman who writes romantic fiction under a male alias, and she's kind of in love with him. And so, but anyway, Mildred comes back, and Philip throws everything away just to kind of be with her and protect her and take care of the baby. And eventually, what happens is Philip thinks that he's not very fun, so he invites his fun friend to have like a night out with Mildred and him, and they're like flirting right in front of his face, and it's like, wow, nice friend. So basically, Mildred falls in love with his friend and Mildred go away to uh, to Paris, and in the interim, he's lost this relationship with this writer, and she says something like, yeah, we're all bound to different people. We're all in different forms of bondage, like emotional slavery. Like, you're bonded to Mildred, I'm bonded to you, Mildred is bonded to this guy. So that's where the title comes from. But it's not done yet. No. The plot's not done yet. So Mildred is in Paris, and Philip is trying to recover his medical career, and he's getting better and better. And Mildred comes back because Philip's friend has abandoned her, and she's pregnant again, so she needs help. And this time, Mildred is more sensitive to Philip, and she's kind of trying to get with him. And they actually haven't, as far as I know, had any sexual relationship yet. It's just been like flirting in the beginning, and then she left, right? So this is where she's like really trying to be a part of his life. And Philip has grown a spine by this point, and he's like, no, I don't want you. And then, so Mildred reacts by destroying his paintings, which aren't very good, but Philip really tried with those paintings, and destroys some bonds that were paying for Philip's medical expenses. So Philip, he says like, so he kicks Mildred out, basically. Philip gets kicked out because he doesn't have any money. And eventually the last love interest, who works with her father as some sort of nurse, I guess. Or she's not a nurse. She works with her father in this like department store. And the father gets Philip a job, and his club foot is repaired, and Philip studies to be a doctor, and then he chooses to be with this lady. And the last part of the movie is Mildred comes to see him, and she is stricken by various diseases like, I don't know, tuberculosis or she's dying of something. And she comes to Philip because he knows something about medicine, and she needs some kind of treatment. And he is like, yeah, take this. I see that you have a cough. And he's kind of really indifferent to Mildred's plight, and Mildred leaves. And basically Mildred is, well, the last scene we see of Mildred is that she's dying in some kind of room, and these friends of Philip's kind of take her to the hospital, and Philip is going to go see her, and they're like, no, it's too late, you can't do anything. And he sees the medical notes about who it is, and it's Mildred. And she, at this point, she looks like she's dying. Her hair is all crazy and stuff. So that was really hard to talk about the plot without talking about the performances. So now I'm going to talk about the performances. Let's start with Leslie Howard, because I've seen him in only one other film, which was The Petrified Forest, also with Bette Davis. And Leslie Howard has this sort of like, it's really hard to say like what he is doing that makes his movies so enjoyable. And I think it's just plain charisma. And I asked a question in my review of The Petrified Forest, which was if if he was just inhabiting a role as that character, or whether his sort of personality was the role that he so he brings his personality to his role as an actor. And that's kind of like a very basic simplification of the different styles of acting, whether you inhabit the character or the character inhabits you. So if you're a big enough movie star and you're charismatic enough, you inhabiting the character really, really works. And I think Leslie Howard is an actor who did that. And he's really, really good in this film. Just playing this guy who's like very sensitive and he's put upon by life, and he's kind of like, this might be a bit offensive, but he's kind of like a Mary Sue character, because bad things happen to him and he doesn't take a lot of initiative in his life, and he's rewarded in the end because he's somewhat morally virtuous. Now, if we talk about Bette Davis's acting, it's also brilliant. And the reviews at the time were kind of staggering. They said that this was the best performance ever on in film. And I think maybe at the time they were right, because you have this actress who, this movie made her a star. Like, Bette Davis wasn't really a star before this, and she did this, and she was a star. And basically, how did she become a star? Not by being more beautiful than other actresses, but by out acting them. So she's playing this character that is not very sympathetic, with this kind of indifferent air to life, who feels somewhat pestered by this man, but this man is kind of the only one who is pestering her, so she kind of relies on him again and again. And I think maybe she feels like that if she is around, in the end, she feels like this is her last chance at happiness, or something resembling happiness, and he's rejected her at this point. So she has a violent reaction, and there's maybe two scenes, or maybe three scenes, that show like the power that Bette Davis had as an actress. The first one is the where they have their first date, and she's just drinking tea, and she looks up at him, and like there's all of this, like there's this song, Bette Davis Eyes, and I don't think her eyes are particularly different than anybody else's eyes, but she's looking at him, and it's just like, okay, it's game over for that guy. You can tell, like, he is smitten hook, line, and sinker with this woman because of this interaction. So she's shown a twinkling of affection for him and desire for him, and that's enough because of his own kind of issues that he has with himself. So that's the first thing. Second thing is when she, at kind of the middle third of the movie, when she's trying to kind of win his heart back, she's walking around in this dress that he bought her, and the dress is like, it's weird because I think it's an iconic dress. Like, it's this polka dot thing, and it shows her shape. It's got some weird frills, but the frills are kind of covered in this scene, and she's just walking around and she's being herself. And what she's trying to do is she's trying to like attract him again. She's saying like, I am a desirable woman, you desire me, and I think that desire is enough for us. But then he rejects her, and all of this rage comes out of her. Like, she was never that passionate about anything up until this point. She's been kind of indifferent to what life has had for her. And I think that's because she kind of think good things are happening, so she's okay. But this bad thing that's happening, he's rejecting her, and she's like, you're like a cripple, you're disgusting, we used to laugh at you. And that's like one of the classic speeches of all time in classic Hollywood and probably in movie history, just what she says to him. Because she knows she's lost. And this is like raging, it's like rage quitting basically. Like, oh, you're not going to want me? Fine. I'm going to destroy whatever image you had of me left. So it's really, really great acting. Yeah, so probably the best acting in 1935 for an actress, or 1934, whenever the movie came out. Is it the best acting to this day? No, I think that it's a bit stereotypical. Especially the accent. The accent is hard to get over because I don't know what an authentic Cockney accent sounds like. But I picture Michael Caine, and she's not doing an iota maybe not. She's not doing a fraction of that. And she, as I said, she was quite proud of the accent. She hired a Cockney maid, and she was trying to like imitate what the Cockney maid sounded like. So that's one part. And I think even though the rest of her performance is quite good, it's like you would expect that from a male actor playing a similar character. So it was the first time an actress probably in Hollywood was actually acting. And that sounds weird, but like she wasn't inhabiting the character was inhabiting her. And she said in an interview later that it was weird because she, as a person, didn't have these experiences in life, but the character did. So the character was kind of working through her. And yeah, I think that's how she worked actually. So the character came first and the character was inhabiting her. So it's great. It's a great performance. I don't know what would be the best performance all time from an actress, but I am really quite eager to find out. And I think, yeah, that's the good thing about doing a project like this, is that you learn more and more about film and film history and acting and stuff. And yeah, like I think Bette Davis is a revelation. And if you haven't seen any Bette Davis films, maybe this is not the one to start with, but why not? Oh, a random interesting thing is, for whatever reason, the copyright to this film wasn't protected because I think Warner Brothers later bought the film rights to the novel, but they had the film rights to the novel, but not the rights to this film. So now you can actually watch the full thing on Wikipedia. So just look up Of Human Bondage 1934, and then there's like a link to like maybe a scene or two from the movie, but this is a whole movie. So yeah, you have no excuses if you really want to watch Of Human Bondage from 1934. You can watch it on Wikipedia, which is a weird place to find it, but yeah, it's there. All right, that's my review of Human Bondage. I don't have an interactive question for you, but maybe what do you think is the best performance from an actress in history? And if it's something I haven't seen, I will go and watch it. All right. Thank you very much for your time and your consideration. If you like my reviews, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 200 subscribers by the end of January, and I have 189. So it's quite possible. If you're listening on Spotify, please follow. And yeah, thank you. Bye-bye. Oh no, the button's there. All right, bye.